podcast dedicated to the highs and lows of crushes. From their first to their worst, we're going to cover them all with a cascade of characters, including our guest today, me, myself, and I. Yes, I'm flying solo today because with Father's Day right around the corner, I thought, what better time than the present than to talk about DILFs, TV DILFs to be exact. So from the animated to the ones who make the most modern of families, let's get it started. So when I set out on this TV DILF journey, I had a list of personal favorites that had almost 24. Yes, 24 dads from the small screen that, if they were my friends' fathers, I would have been over a lot. Which, I did have a couple of friends growing up who did indeed have hot dads. I won't say who they are, but I think if you grew up with me, you kind of can guess who those two were. But anyway, it's totally normal to crush a bit on a friend's dad. So let's get to it. Most of my DILF crushes have been TV dads, and thinking back, I think the first one may have been Dave from Alvin and the Chipmunks. You know, that was probably the first DILF I clocked in my life, and since then the list has grown to, well, almost 24. Probably more, but that initial number was just based on the ones I could rapid fire list off in my handy dandy notebook. A good lot of them were from Mrs. Us, which I wrote about earlier this week. I felt like the Pearson DILFs deserve their own spotlight because honestly, between Jack, Randall, and even Kevin, there is probably too much hotness in the Pearson household. So after giving the Pearsons their own time to shine, I whittled that down to a solid 10, which I'll list the whole batch on Thursday like I've always done, like in the past when I rattled on about people's sexiest men or my top crushes of 2021. If you have yet to listen to those, they're available and quick to consume, so take them in and enjoy. Not right now though, because right now it's time to pay homage to some hot-ass TV dads, 5 to be exact, and in no particular order, we're going to kick things off with Bel-Air's Uncle Phil. I'm as surprised as any that the reimagining of the hit TV series The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was that good. They really took a 90s comedy and transformed it into an addicting-ass drama with a cast that is absolutely stunning. But I mean, I'm not surprised it's set in California. People there are gorgeous. I mean, Jeffrey is the real VIP, but we only heard he was a dad. I never saw him being one, so I had to give this win to Phil because he was doing the damn thing. First off, Uncle Phil's bank account is deep. That's not obviously what makes him a DILF, but it doesn't hurt that he has an estate in Bel-Air that could probably house my entire hometown. Other than being physically handsome as can be, what I love about Phil is how he will do just about anything to protect and provide for his family. Literally anything. Because I'm 100% sure he had Jeffrey kill a man or two in the past. Cannot confirm or deny that, but in my heart he has. From a man that would kill for his family to a man that likely never heard a fly, let's move on to Danny Tanner, who is played by the late great Bob Saget. So growing up, Uncle Jesse was obviously the eye candy of the show, but as I got older, I was like, Danny could get it too. Today, I appreciate how clean and caring Danny was to his daughters. Not only that, but he was man enough to admit that he indeed did need help raising his kids after being left a single father. I also want to touch on why I think Bob Saget's untimely death hit harder than I thought it would. I think it's because growing up, my household wasn't the most stable. My mom was either at work or the local casino, and we never really knew when she'd be home or how drunk her boyfriend was going to be. Well, that's a lie. Insanely drunk. He was never far from a 12-pack of Natural Light. Anyways, TJF was a piece of stability for me growing up. I could always count on that block of programming on the end of the week. And Full House, Danny Tanner, Bob Saget helped ground me in so many ways growing up. And for that, grateful as fuck, and top TV DILF. Okay, now that I got a little heartfelt, let's get a little silly because the next crush ain't even a real person. It's Drew Pickles from Rugrats. I mean, we can't be that surprised. I've talked about Robin Hood and kicked this off with Dave Seville, an animated man who housed singing rodents. So yeah, Drew Pickles is the father of one of the top tier brats of all time, Angelica. I've read that Stu and Dee Dee Pickles, his brother and sister-in-law, were supposed to be in their early 30s or something, so Drew would probably around my age, which is 35. And he had that definite young dad hipster vibe going on with his wardrobe. And if they ever wanted to take on the task of a live action version of Rugrats, we all know it would probably look like a nightmare, but we all know John Krasinski would and could play Drew Pickles. That's a given. Now it's time to take a look at Louis from Fresh Off the Boat. If you didn't watch Fresh Off the Boat, you really missed out. But you can right your wrongs because it's probably on Hulu or something available right now. It followed the life of an Asian family in the 90s who moved from DC to Orlando so that Louis could open a steakhouse. His son, Eddie, was the center of this universe, but more often than not, we did get well-rounded stories focusing on every other member of the family, Louis included. What I loved about this TV deal from the start was that he was a dreamer with a heart of gold, which beautifully balanced his wife, Jessica, who was more straightforward and realistic. Also, Louis was played by Randall Park, and if you've ever seen this man, not hard to look at, easy on the eyes, that never hurts anyone. Which, speaking of, let's get to our final TV DILF, Phil Dunphy from Modern Family. Phil is the type of dad you could see yourself crushing on in real life just because he is the cool yet somehow not cool dad all at the same time. Like, he is such an amazing father. One I'm sure many would have loved and appreciated having around, but at the same time, he can be a total dork. The latter is why I think my crush on Phil will be everlasting. I can watch clips of that man from Modern Family today and still erupt in a giggle fit. Phil was also he was a good husband in regards to being there for Claire on all levels. If you catch my drift, you can't see me now, but I am winking. So there you have it, half of my favorite TV DILFs, and more to come. But until next time, keep crushing it.